Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and we are going to be exploring teas together here. If this is your first time, this is a place where you might want to come back and look at, just admire some of the beauty of different kinds of teas, from the pressed cakes of a pu'er to the rolled balls of like a dongding, or some of your Taiwanese oolongs that are rolled into shapes. So lots of other shapes, needles. All of them have a different story, background, a lot of history, and a lot of skill, a lot of people and care behind a lot of these teas. So, as we look at these teas and understand them and come to appreciate them, we're going to, of course, make some tea along the way. Let's go ahead and start on that. We have an AliShan tea that we're going to be talking about, giving more details about in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get this one started. So first thing I'm going to do is get out my gaiwan, and I'm going to, I'll use my spoon first off. I want enough tea so that it covers the bottom surface of my gaiwan, the floor of it, so to speak. So when you put that in, that will get most of it. And keep in mind, like an oolong like this one, rolled into balls, or paper wad, crumpled up like paper wads, they're going to expand quite a bit. These are actually larger size leaves. Now my water's been brought to a boil, and it's been cooling for the 40 seconds I've been talking here. I want to make sure to put enough water in there that a little bit rises up over the top. I want to make sure it has some heat. I don't want to overcook these. That should be right there, should be just fine. So when I place this lid on, I'm keeping in mind that these leaves are going to unfurl and expand and displace my water. So that was just enough to get right above the rim there and seal that into place. So as that's steeping, let's go ahead and introduce this tea and talk about it a little bit more so we know where it's from. This is from Canton Tea Company, which is in the UK. I don't always review a lot of teas outside the US, or teas that are not from the country of origin of that tea. The reason is that by going through a third country, a lot of times you can get higher shipping rates. There can be some extra costs in that, but Canton's prices, shipping prices especially, are quite reasonable. Competitive with a tea purchased from a U.S. site or company. Anyway, this is their AliShan oolong. This is a 10-gram package, which, if we were putting it in the gaiwan here, just like we did today, that you would have maybe 3, possibly 4 steepings or gaiwans worth. So it's not a high volume, but 10 grams is enough to get you the sample. And that sample will be $4.73. Okay. Now you can also get a 15% discount by using the coupon code LEAF. That's LEAF when you go to checkout. So let's talk about this tea. Let's give it a taste and explore it a little bit more. First thing we want to do is just kind of smell it and enjoy the aromas coming off the dry leaf. You're getting sweet smells with woody smells combined. So you're getting something like an English laurel, think of that. You're getting a little bit of graham cracker, and as we mentioned, we're also getting a little bit of a floral component. So there's something kind of hyacinth in there, something kind of a fragrant, heavy type of sweetness to it. Okay, so those are the 3 components that I would note as the strongest. Now let's go ahead and look at these dry leaves. You're going to notice that as we mentioned before, these are crumpled up like paper wads, so that they're rolled or balled into shape. You're going to notice a little brown section here and there in some of these rolls or balls. There's going to be a little bit of brown stem looking, and that's indicative of there being more than one leaf connected together. AliShans are larger, a bit more matured leaf, So they're going to be thicker. They're going to be, like I said, wider, longer. These are a darker, richer green rather than something that's a newer, delicate flush. You know, those are going to be usually a lighter green, paler in color. These are a richer, deeper, and there's some, you can smell like that kind of roasted. There's a little bit of a lightly indication of a light toasting, a light firing that really finished off this tea. Okay, so far they look like they're tightly rolled. They look like there are leaf sets or pairs there. So those are good indications so far. Let's go ahead and talk about our liquor and our wet leaf. And to do that, we're going to have to pour. So we're going to push over to the side a little bit to give us an opening, give us a separation there. So this will pour a little bit more smoothly. And I'm going to use something a little bit different today in just a second, because I want to, sometimes these aroma cups, which is what we have here, aroma cup set, and the way you use an aroma cup set, I want to use it while it's still quite warm. I'm going to put that in there. Actually, let me set that right here. And I'm going to put that just like so for a second. I'm actually going to let that sit for a moment in there and build up some aromas, but hopefully not too long, because we do want to get back to that before it cools and gets too light. The next thing we're going to be doing is looking at our wet leaf. Your cup's still going to be quite warm, so you want to hold it by the rim. People, if you're asking, where did I get my Gaiwan? There's a couple of places you can get them. I found mine through eBay. There's a couple of good vendors who I've been satisfied with the quality of their Gaiwans, and if you'd like to know more about that, go ahead and contact me. I can point you in the right direction, depending on the current situation and what's currently available. That English laurel component has lightened up. It's still probably more dominant, but a lot of the aromas have become quite subdued right now at this point on our wet leaf. A light boiled lima bean component is coming out. But again, that's mild, quite mild. But let's go ahead and talk about this wet leaf. So get out my lid here, and let's fish a few leaves out as we do so. Okay, here, leaf number 1. Full, as we say, large size. You don't see a lot of oxidation or rust color on the jagged edge of the leaf here. So this was very, very light oxidation. Very gentle treatment here. We'll pull out some of these leaf sets that I was talking about as well. Here's an example. A leaf connected, not fully unfurled, still quite wrinkled up, which is a positive sign for subsequent steepings. It means that there's still some oils, there's still some flavor compounds in that leaf that have not yet been fully released. Another large leaf. Here's one. This leaf about 2 inches or so, plus what looks like the remains of a third leaf, a smaller, possibly more delicate looking leaf there on the end. So that is something to note. And that's what you're going to be getting from an AliShan. You're going to be getting leaf sets like this. Just kind of look, see if there's anything else unusual here for just briefly. Here's another example. Here we got, we got quite a few here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves connected together. You are seeing a little bit more of the oxidation, a little bit of the rust brown type of tinges on the little teeth on the edge of the leaf here. So yeah, as we said, very light oxidation taking place. Okay, that takes care of our wet leaf. We can now move on and talk a little bit about our liquor. We do want to look at the color. We notice that that is a golden yellow color. It's fairly bright yellow. Okay, so it's not pale. It's not. I would say this is on par. Okay, not necessarily an indication of a lot of oxidation taking place there. So let's move on. And to get the smell, this is where we use this aroma cup, Wenxiangbei. Supposedly these were, the popular story is that these were developed in Taiwan around the 70s. And you have the cup, the larger cup, the mushroom cap here is for the actual tasting, but the taller, narrower cup is for the actual smelling. So you flip it over, you give it a twist as you break the seal there. And you immediately give it a whiff. There's something light vanilla in there, okay, which would have been more difficult if you had not had a cup like this to stick your nose into. So you do have still some of that English laurel. You have like I said, a light vanilla bean component in there as well. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna pour this into here and add a little bit more from my pitcher and give this a taste. Now, I'm still getting a bit of the, there's a little bit of a juicy type of pear component in there. There's a little bit of pear juice aspect there. The hyacinth, graham cracker, what else to say, English laurel, those components have dropped off some. Generally, AliShans and some of your higher mountain Taiwanese oolongs, like this one, bring out a little bit more as they cool. So we want to wait just a while and see if this cooling off period helps enhance the flavors or components of this tea. This one's got a bit more of a astringent. It's not heavily astringent. It's got an astringent component on the front roof of your mouth. All of a sudden, right up around the back of your front teeth here, upper front teeth, all of a sudden it feels just kind of tight. It's like the skin's just drawing in ever so slightly because there's a reaction to that dryness there. In the back, around your molars, especially the lower, you are getting a little bit of a sweetness starting to pool up. It's a bittersweet type of feel. Not to say this tea is bitter, but there's something that reaction after eating, like for example a dark piece of dark chocolate, there's that bittersweet buildup there of a pooling of sweetness there. The aftertaste, I would have to say this is one of the lighter aftertastes in comparison with other AliShans. The aftertaste is just, it was light. It didn't hang around very long. It whisked away. It was blown away in the wind, kind of thing. So, looking at this tea as a whole, I'm going to have to give this tea an 88. It has some flavor components. The leaf looked nice. The fact that they didn't fully unfurl in the wet leaf indicates that we've got a couple of, at least one or two more good steepings out of this. Aftertaste is light, as I said. I mean, you still feel a little bit of sweetness, but there's not a lot of flavor really present in that aftertaste. The brothiness there, also, I should have mentioned, is not. You expect a little bit of brothiness, a little bit of a coating, a silken type of coating on the mouth, which just is not there either. So that's why I give this tea the score that it deserves. Let me get one more taste here. A little bit better as it cooled. Not significant, no drastic change there. So come back and join us next time on Walker Tea Review, where you will see how we can use new utensils like a aroma cup. We can explore new teas together, find out what is truly brings you joy here together at Walker Tea Review.